Saturday, 5:30 p.m. Welcome to the Masterclass on Emerging Literacies. We last met was on the 2nd of August 2026. We had a break last Saturday because we were hosting the Snelata Prize away in Jaipur. The winner of this year prize for building a culture of reading is none other than our Brinda Ghosh. So you see her in the afternoon session at 3:30 every Saturday. So when we were talking last week, we were talking about work. And we mentioned about universal basic income and universal basic services, where an interesting analogy was given that people in the Jewish of Israel, the rabbis are actually compensated for not pursuing work in the way you will work as a blue-collar worker, because they add value to the society. So if you look at that and the examples I had mentioned, how we need to compensate the people in rural areas for not migrating to urban areas, that would be universal basic services, which they will get there. And likewise, there was a concept of universal basic income. So we talked about the changing nature of work, where AI would have an upper edge and where humans would have an upper edge. And humans will always have an upper edge when you will have what we call service. And we talked about the health sector, where we realized that the role of the nursing staff will change. That is one example we gave. We said that the universal basic income or universal basic service face major hurdles where basic needs get defined. We ultimately said that the loss of human agency to algorithms, which could be digital dictatorship. The path forward remains a new social model combining safety net and meaningful community and purpose. So if you have a safety net and you have meaningful community and purpose, you are in good stead. So three potentials we talked of, from exploitation to irrelevance in the world of AI: prevent job losses, create new jobs, manage massive joblessness. So these are the problems of the 21st century which will come about. Logarithms as consumers and dictators, that was another topic we talked about, and we give you examples of how logarithms work in the stock market and in advertising. And finally, what are the basic needs of human in education and healthcare? Why they should be met? And then we said a model for future meaning and content. And we discussed, like I said a while ago, the Israeli ultra-Orthodox community offers a potential model for a post-work society. We have shared everything in the WhatsApp chat. This link is there. The beautiful part is you can find all our sessions on the YouTube channel. So if you were not there last time and you want to catch up, you go to the YouTube channel. YouTube channel is My Good School. There are some beautiful videos there. You will find this video, which is the future of work, on the channel. I'm sure you can see it on my screen. This is the video of our session of 2nd of August. So you will soon, some of us are new, and we will orient them a little as to how things work here, and then we go on. So when you come here, we bring the book along for you. And we say that even if you don't have the book, please. This is the ultimate, what I say, in the way you can handle a hybrid between podcast, a hybrid between audiobook, Kindle book, and a print book. Then post this session, if you have missed it and you've been too busy, we're always there for you on YouTube. So you don't miss anything. I'm glad there's so many of us on a day which is Saturday. It's a holiday, 15th August, it's a holiday. And I'm glad you're putting your hour to good use. I promise you, you will be very happy to be here. And we hope you will join us every Saturday at 5:30 p.m. So we are reading the book, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, Chapter 3. What is liberty? So in the age of big data, where you are being watched, what really is liberty? It's a hard question to answer. And our friend Yuval Noah Harari, the author, has taken pains to explain what liberty is in this age. The liberal story cherishes human liberty as its number one value. It argues that all authority ultimately stems from the free will of individual humans, as it is expressed in their feelings, desires, and choices. In politics, liberalism believes that the vote is best. It is therefore uphold democratic elections. In economics, liberalism maintains that the customer is always right. It therefore hails free market principles. In personal matters, liberalism encourages people to listen to themselves, be true to themselves, and follow their hearts. As long as they do not infringe liberties of others. This personal freedom is enshrined in human rights. So today is a beautiful day to talk about freedom. It's a day to talk about independence. So I was explaining to someone just a little while back in the last session where I said that humans work with mind, consciousness, and thought. When you can reflect your will with mind, consciousness, and thought, and you can act, that is the personal freedom we all must have. And this is enshrined as a human right for all of us. So, in liberalism, capitalism, and communism or fascism, you look at the way liberty is handled differently. And as we go along, the value of liberty, the definition of liberty gets hemmed with challenges of sometimes nationalism, sometimes discipline, sometimes duties and rights. So, what really is this liberalism? What it means for us? That's what we're trying to decode. And it's important in this day, we as teachers really understand what liberalism is. Because every day you hear this debate these days that liberalism is at a crossroads, it's threatened. You get so much of made up news, you don't know what is true, what is untrue. In Western political discourse, the term liberal is sometimes used today in a much narrower partisan sense to denote those who support specific causes. Like most so-called conservatives also embrace a broad liberal worldview, especially in the United States. Both Republicans and Democrats should occasionally take a break from their heated quarrels to remind themselves that they all agree on fundamentals such as free election, an independent judiciary, and human rights. You're in India, I'm sure you will agree on these three things. Test yourself. Do you think people should choose their government rather than blindly obey a king? Do you think people should choose their profession rather than to be born into a caste? Do you think people should choose their spouse rather than marrying whomever their parents select? If you answered yes to all three questions, congratulations, you are a liberal. In particular, it is vital to remember that even conservative heroes such as Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher were great champions not only of economic freedoms but also of individual liberties. In the famous interview in 1987, Thatcher said that there is no such thing as society. There is a living tapestry of men and women, and the quality of our lives will depend upon how much each of us is prepared to take responsibility of ourselves. This is the most important part for us as teachers. If we can carry this message, the quality of our lives will depend how much each of us is prepared responsibility of ourselves. The fundamental message which we have to give to the generation ahead, and which we've always been a challenge for us in generations go by. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this in the WhatsApp chat. I'm leaving this thought there as a sentence, and I expect you will have time to reflect and share your thoughts on it. So I put it in the WhatsApp chat. If some of you are not there in the WhatsApp chat, The process is very simple. I will add the telephone number, or you can note it down. Let me see if I can add it right here. Let me add it in the chat. If you would like to be included, you're most welcome. The number is very simple: 98111 98111 When you check this number, it will say Learning Forward India Foundation. It's a verified number. You could use this to join by sending a request on this number to be added to the 5:30 p.m. conversation. Most welcome to join us. We expect you to have a dialogue. We are more than happy to accept your reflections. Whatever you share, your reflections, we share them on a blog called happyteacher.in. Now, when we share things with you in a blog, you will be happy to learn. I'm very proud and privileged to share with you that this Future of Learning blog, we had a very healthy dialogue with the publisher for the last 1 week. And on 10th of August, we have decided that we will recreate anthologies from this blog. This blog is 98% AI free, which is very hard to find in this date. And that 2-3% of AI came in simply because we did a book on productive failure. And a lot of the teachers were compelled to send assignments. So they used AI. Acceptable when you compel people and they don't love you, they don't live the way values live, they will be forced to do things. So that's what happens in the last book. So there's no compulsion for you to reflect. If you wish to reflect, please do. Who knows, you may be the next big author who may be spotted by our exercise, wherein we are publishing from the blog an anthology. It's a very well read blog, over 40 lakh page views. So when you send a reflection to us, your reflections come up on this blog. Please feel free to write anything about liberty, about the chapter we read, whatever thoughts mind, any picture you can think of, any graphic you'd like to make. Try and be original. Use it like your diary. Don't please ask AI to reflect. AI will give you a note, but AI cannot capture your reflection. Reflection is yours. It's your personal self. Your reflection is what you wear. Your reflection is what you share. And that's an important element. So with that, I come back to the Kindle book, leaving behind this powerful sentence: the quality of our lives will depend on how much each of us is prepared to take responsibility of ourselves. So this is where I'm saying the human edge lies in being truthful. Thatcher's in the conservative comes from the feelings, choices, and free will of individual voters. Thus, when Britain decided to decide whether it should leave the EU, Prime Minister David Cameron didn't ask Queen Elizabeth II, the Archbishop of Canterbury, or the Oxford and Cambridge dons to resolve the issue. He didn't even ask the members of parliament. Rather, he held a referendum in which each and every Briton was asked, what do you feel about it? You might object that people were asked, what do you think rather than what do you feel? But this is a common misperception. Referendums and elections are always about human feelings, not about human rationality. If democracy were a matter of rational decision making, there would be absolutely no reason to give all people equal voting rights, or perhaps any voting rights. There is ample evidence that some people are far more knowledgeable and rational than others, certainly when it comes to specific economic and political questions. In the wake of Brexit vote, biologist Richard Dawkins protested, and the vast majority of the British public, including himself, should never have been asked to vote in the referendum because they lacked the necessary background in economic political science. You might as well call a nationwide plebiscite to decide whether Einstein got his algebra right, or let passengers vote on which runway the pilot should land. However, for better or worse, elections and referendums are not about what we think. They are about what we feel. And when it comes to feelings, Einstein and Dawkins know better than anyone else. Democracy assumes that human feelings reflect a mysterious and profound free will, that this free will is the ultimate source of authority, and that while some people are more intelligent than others, all humans are equally free. Like Einstein and Dawkins, an illiterate maid also has free will. Hence, on election day, her feelings, represented by her vote, count just as much as anybody else's. Feelings guide not just the voter, but also the leaders. In the 2016 Brexit referendum, the Leave campaign was headed together by Boris Johnson and Mikhail Gove. After David Cameron resigned, Gove initially supported Johnson for the premiership, but at the last minute, Gove declared Johnson unfit for the position and announced his whole own intention to run for the job. Gove's action, which destroyed Johnson's chances, was described as Machiavellian political assassination. But Gove defended his conduct by appealing to his feelings, explaining that in every step in my political life, I've asked myself one question: what is the right thing to do? What does your heart tell you? That's why, according to Gove, he has fought so hard for Brexit, and that's why he felt compelled to backstab his erstwhile ally Boris Johnson and bid for the alpha dog position himself, because his heart told him do it. This reliance on the heart might prove to be the Achilles heels of liberal democracy. For once, somebody, whether in Beijing or in San Francisco, gains the technological ability to hack and manipulate the human heart, democratic politics will mutate into an emotional puppet show. Here we are in a country which is going through this catharsis. Listen to the algorithm. The liberal belief in the feelings and free choices of individuals is neither natural nor very ancient. For thousands of years, people believed that authority came from divine laws rather than from the human heart, and that we should therefore sanctify the word of God rather than human liberty. Only in the last few centuries did the source of authority shift from the celestial deities to flesh and blood humans. Soon authority might shift from humans to algorithms. Just as divine authority was legitimized by religious mythologies and human authority was justified by the liberal story, so the coming technological revolution might establish the authority of big data logarithms while undermining the very idea of individual freedom. I'll take a pause and make you think. Today, all of us are connected. Yes, we are connected in our WhatsApp itself. A lot of things we share influence your thought. And a lot of what you see around and what you think, you will see back on the screen. Now, that is exactly where the logarithm is playing. So, it's important in such a scenario to think deeply. And that's exactly what we are encouraging you to do: think deeply. When we talk of how tech will shape education and we talk of future learning, as of now, we are focusing on emerging literacies. And for us, it's important to read thinkers like Yuval Noah Harari. That's where we are. So we are with Yuval and we are reading his book, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. We're trying to understand how big data and logarithms will change our lives. And this is chapter 3. We are doing this with teachers for the simple reason I think teachers should be sensitized to the new world. Then only they can help the Gen Alpha, Gen Z, or whatever you call the generation for tomorrow actually perform better. As we mentioned in the previous chapter, scientific insights into the way our brains and bodies suggest that our feelings are not some uniquely human spiritual quality, and they do not reflect any kind of free will. Rather, feelings are biochemical mechanisms, and that all mammals and birds use in order to quickly calculate probabilities of survival and reproduction. Feelings aren't based on intuition, inspiration, or freedom. They are based on when a monkey, mouse, or a human sees a snake, fear arises because millions of neurons in the brain swiftly calculate the relevant data and conclude that the probability of death is high. Feelings of sexual attraction arise when other biochemical logarithms calculate that a nearby individual offers a high probability of successful mating, social bonding, or some other coveted goal. Moral feelings such as an outrage, guilt, or forgiveness derive from neural mechanisms that evolved to an group cooperation. All these biochemical logarithms were honed over millions of years of evolution. If the feelings of some ancient ancestor made a mistake, the genes shaping feelings did not pass on to the next generation. Feelings are thus not the opposite of rationality. They embody evolutionary rationality. I will repeat the sentence. Feelings are thus not the opposite of rationality. They embody evolutionary rationality. We usually fail to realize that feelings are in fact calculations because the rapid process of calculations occurs far below the threshold of awareness. We don't feel the millions of neurons in the brain computing probabilities of survival and reproduction. So we erroneously believe that our fear of snakes, our choice of sexual mates, or our opinions about the European Union are the result of some mysterious free will.
Sir,
Nevertheless,
sorry to intervene. Our screen is not visible. Your screen is not visible.
sorry. Thank you, Gurdeep. Did you get it back?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now it's there.
Sorry about that. रुकावट के लिए खेद है. Nevertheless, though liberalism is wrong to think that our feelings reflect a free will, up until today, relying on feelings still made good practical sense. For although there was nothing magical or free about feelings, they were the best method in the universe for deciding what to study, who to marry, and which party to vote for. And no outside system could hope to understand my feelings better than me, even if the Spanish Inquisition of the Soviet KGB spied on me every minute of every day. They lacked the biological knowledge and the computing power necessary to hack the biochemical process shaping my desires and choices. Let me take a pause. The focus of this book is the meeting of infotech and biotech, which will shape the century ahead. So, with that backdrop, we read on. For practical purposes, it was reasonable to argue that I have free will, because my will was shaped mainly by the interplay of inner forces, which nobody could see. I could enjoy the illusion that I control my secret inner arena, while outsiders could never really understand what is happening inside me and how I make decisions. Accordingly, liberalism was correct in counseling people to follow their heart rather than the dictates of some priest or party eparchik. However, soon computer algorithms could give you better counsel than feelings. As the Spanish Inquisition and the KGB gave way to Google and Baidu, free will likely be exposed as a myth, and liberalism might lose its practical advantages. Why we are talking of liberalism? Because we feel liberalism itself is evolving. So if you see today how communism works, you see how even fascism works, they all are moving in a particular direction as liberalism is evolving. And the line which was there in the last century between the fascism, between communism, between liberalism, between capitalism is slowly getting erased, and a new world order is coming up. It is happening more because of intersection of data, biotechnology, and infotech. For we are now at the confluence of two immense revolutions. On the one hand, biologists are deciphering the mysteries of the human body, and in particular of the brain and human feelings. At the same time, Computer scientists are giving us unprecedented data processing power. When the biotech revolution merges with the infotech revolution, it will produce big data algorithms that can monitor and understand my feelings much better than I can. And then authority will probably shift from humans to computers. My illusion of free will is likely to disintegrate as I daily encounter institutions, corporations, and government agencies that understand and manipulate what has hitherto my inaccessible inner realm. So, this is where reaching. To put it succinctly, we can use the following formula: B into C into D is equal to A. Biological knowledge multiplied by computing power multiplied by data equal to ability to hack humans. That's an interesting one. So let's take a screenshot of this. So I'll put the formula for you in the WhatsApp chat, something for you to think about, to reflect about, maybe send us a post about it. Just posted this formula in your chat. Do think about it, do ruminate, do chew, and then share your thoughts. We will publish your thoughts on the blog. We can already witness how this formula works in the field of medicine. The most important medical decisions in our life rely not on our feelings of illness or wellness, or even on the informed predictions of our doctor, but on the calculation of computers which understand our bodies much better than we do. Within a few decades, big data algorithms informed by constant stream of biometric data could monitor our health 24/7. By the way, this book was written 10 years back. They could detect the very beginning of influenza, cancer, or Alzheimer's disease long before we feel anything is wrong with us. They could then recommend appropriate treatments, diets, and daily regimes custom built for our unique physique, DNA, and personality. People will enjoy the best healthcare in history, but for precisely this reason, they will probably be sick all the time. There's always something wrong somewhere in the body. There is always something that can be improved. In the past, you felt perfectly healthy as long as you didn't sense pain or you didn't suffer from an apparent disability such as limping. But by 2050, thanks to biometric sensors and big data algorithms, diseases may be diagnosed and treated long before they lead to pain or disability. As a result, you will always find yourself suffering from some medical condition and following this or that logarithm recommendation. If you refuse, perhaps your medical insurance would become invalid or your boss would fire you. Why should they pay the price of your obstinacy? It is one thing to continue smoking despite general statistics that connect smoking with lung cancer. It is a very different thing to continue smoking despite a concrete warning from a biometric sensor that has just detected 17 cancerous cells in your upper left lung. And if you're willing to defy the sensor, what will you do when the sensor forwards the warning to your insurance agency, your manager, and your mother? See how the world is moving. Who will have the time and energy to deal with all those illnesses? In all likelihood, we could just instruct our health logarithm to deal with most of these problems as it sees fit. At most, it will send periodic updates to our smartphones telling us that 17 cancerous cells were detected and destroyed. Hypochondriacs might dutifully read these updates, but most of us will ignore them just as we ignore those annoying antivirus notices on our computers. Any thought? Anyone wants to share anything? Do you think we are reading comfortably? Are you able to get involved with the book? Do you think the book rings some bell? Is some thought happening? Anyone wants to say anything? I'm happy to pause. Gurdeep, you want to add something?
Yeah, I
Making you
was
think something?
yeah, I was thinking about that formula B, C, D, and R.
Yeah.
Matlab,
Yeah.
like I'm so surprised, book written 10 years ago, and this is really happening.
Yeah,
This
yeah, yeah.
formula is so relevant these days. Matlab, I was thinking about that only, to be very
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. That's why the irony is that the book was written 10 years back. We're reading it 10 years too late. So when he wrote it 10 years back, he must have taken some years to write it also.
Yes, yes.
So see, this guy thought of all these things which we are seeing today 15 years back. And that's exactly why we chose this book, because we hope this book will make us think. And
Yeah.
if teachers are thinkers, they are the best teachers. And today, when I talk of independence, I always talk we teachers are an epitome of education. And education is freedom with responsibility. So when I talk of freedom with responsibility every day, I always look at what we are reading here today. That this freedom can only happen when we think. And that's all a teacher's role is, think deeply. A teacher's role is not to process. The system will always push you to become a processor. But I think teacher's role is thought provocation. And any teacher who in a class is like our friend Yuval Noah Harari, that is the best teacher. The thought provoking teacher will get mind, consciousness, and thought to work in every individual. Thank you, Gurdeep. That's an interesting formula. I've actually shared it in the communication group. And if you people want to write something, you can write as a comment in the WhatsApp chat, or in case you want, what is really best is you can email it to us and we will post it in our happyteacher.in blog, on our happyteacher.in blog. So I mentioned the email address where you can email. The group is Saturday 5:30 p.m. I will take a break here to show you that what I'm talking about. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me see if I can share the entire screen. Yeah. So also system audio. Okay. Allow. So I will share a window with you. I can do that, or I can share and explain to you. Let me just see if I can get you the best view, entire screen. Okay. No, I don't want to share the entire screen. So let me see if I can share the WhatsApp tab with you. Yeah. Can you see my screen, Gurdeep?
No, sir, it's not
Okay.
visible.
You can't see it. So let me see how I can explain. I want to explain to the people here present what I'm talking about, because not many are aware of this forward thinking WhatsApp community which we have. So let me see if I can do it. Entire screen. Okay. So now I'll share my entire screen with you. Now you will see it
It's
fully.
visible, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when I'm talking to you, I'm referring to a group which is called Saturday 5:30 p.m. How do you find this group? It's very easy. We have a you'll see so, but look at my desktop. You will find a group called Literacy Project. Don't get confused. You'll find a book. You won't find Book Cafe Literacy Project. You will find Saturday 5:30 p.m. That's where I have pasted biological knowledge multiplied by computing power multiplied by data equals ability to hack. So what I can do, I can share the link for this. Okay, that will become easier. So I can copy the invite link. So I will copy the link from here and I will get it out of here. I will cancel this. I'll take this as done. I'll go back. I will come back here and I will hide this. Then I will share the Kindle book. I'm back. I picked up that link. I will go back to the chat. I'm now in the chat and I've got the link for you. So if you click on this link, you will end up in the WhatsApp conversation which we are having post this session on emerging literacies. There isn't much chatter. We have ground rules. We don't do any social share whatsoever. This is a professional learning platform. So there is no social share whatsoever. So whatever innovation and updates which we come across in the world, we are more than happy to share with you. Let's go back and share the tab. Can you see my Kindle tab, Gurdeep?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. So it is one thing to continue smoking despite general statistics that connect smoking with lung cancer. It is very different thing to continue smoking despite a concrete warning from a biometric system that has just detected 17 cancerous cells. So we were talking about this and we were saying hypochondriacs might just read the updates. And yes, that is where the whole thing will change. The drama of decision making. What is already beginning to happen in medicine is likely to occur in more fields, in more and more fields. The key invention is the biometric sensor, which people can wear on or inside their bodies, and which converts biological processes into electronic information that computers can store and analyze. Given enough biometric data and enough computing power, external data processing systems can hack all your desires, decisions, and opinions. They can know exactly who you are. Most people don't know themselves very well. When I was 21, I finally realized that I was gay. After several years of living in denial, that's hardly exceptional. Many gay men spend their entire teenage years unsure of sexuality. Now imagine the situation in 2050 when an algorithm can tell any teenager exactly where he is on the gay straight spectrum. And even how malleable that position is. Perhaps the logarithm shows you pictures or videos of attractive men and women, tracks your eye movements, blood pressure, and brain activity, and within 5 minutes ejects a number on the Kinsey scale. It could have saved me years of frustration. Perhaps you personally wouldn't want to take such a test, but then maybe you find yourself with a group of friends in Michelle's boring birthday party, and somebody suggests that you take turns checking yourself on this cool new logarithm with everybody standing around you to watch the results. The comment on them, would you just walk away? Even if you do, and even if you keep hiding from yourself and your classmates, you won't be able to hide from Amazon, Alibaba, or the secret police. As you surf the web, watch YouTube, or read your social media feed, the logarithms will discreetly monitor you, analyze you, and Coca-Cola that if it wants to sell you some fuzzy drink, it had better use the advertisement with the shirtless guy rather than the shirtless girl. You won't even know, but they will know. And such information will be worth billions. Sometime back, Mukesh Ambani had said, data is the new oil, if you remember that, in a Reliance Industries AGM meeting. And that's what he meant. Data is the new oil. When again, maybe it will be out in the open and people will gladly share their information in order to get better recommendations and eventually in order to get the logarithm to make this for them. It starts with simple things like deciding which movie to watch. As you sit down with a group of friends to spend a cozy evening in front of the TV, you first have to choose what to see. 50 years ago, no choice, but today, with the rise of view on demand services, there are thousands of titles available. Reaching an agreement can be difficult because while you personally like science fiction thrillers, Jack prefers romantic comedies and Jill votes for artsy French films. You may well end up compromising on some mediocre B movie that disappoints all of. And logarithm might help. You can tell it which previous movies each of you really like, and based on its massive statistical database, the logarithm can then find the perfect the group. Unfortunately, such a crude logarithm is easily misled, particularly because self-reporting is a notoriously unreliable gauge for people's true preferences. So normally you make a choice, you just make it randomly at that point in multiple choices. So it's not really the best way to gauge preferences. It often happens that we hear lots of people praise as a masterpiece, feel compelled to watch it. And even though we fall asleep midway through, we don't want to look like Philistines as we tell everyone it was an amazing experience. Such problems, however, can be solved if we just allow the logarithm to collect real time data on us as we actually watch movies, instead of relying on our obvious own self reports. For starters, the logarithm can monitor which movies we completed and which we stop watching halfway through. YouTube does that beautifully. We have a YouTube channel. We've been watching data behind it. We even know how many minutes and how many seconds of a video you watch. So that's how we get data and that's how we improve ourselves. Even if we tell the whole world that Gone with the Wind is the best movie ever made, the algorithm will know we never made it past the first half hour. And we never really saw it caused us an almost imperceptible tinge of arousal. And when Vincent accidentally shot Marvin in the face, it made us laugh guiltily, and that we didn't get the big joke about the big Kahawana burger, but we laughed away so as not to look stupid. When yeah, anything you want to add? When we force ourselves to laugh, you see different brain circuits and muscles. Then, when you laugh because something is really funny, humans cannot usually detect the difference, but a biometric sensor could. The word television comes from Greek tele, which means fair, far, and Latin. Gurdeep, is the
Yes,
screen?
sir. So screen is again not visible.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, are we there? The word
Yes,
television
sir, it's visible.
comes from the Greek tele, which means far, and Latin visio side. It was originally conceived as a device that allows us to see from far. Soon, it might soon be seen from afar. And television will watch us while we are watching it. Photography, we may have forgotten most of it. But Netflix or Amazon or whoever owns the TV algorithm will know our personality type and how to press our emotional buttons. Such data would enable Netflix and Amazon to choose movies for us with uncanny precision. But it could also enable them for us the most important decisions in our life, such as what we study, where to work, and who to marry. Of course, Amazon won't be correct all the time. That's impossible. Logarithms will repeatedly make mistakes due to insufficient data, faulty programming, muddled up goal definitions, and chaotic nature of life. But Amazon won't have to be perfect. It will just need to be better on average than us humans. And that is not difficult because most people don't know themselves well. And most people often make terrible mistakes in the most important decisions of their lives. Even more than logarithms, humans suffer from insufficient data, from faulty programming, genetic and cultural, from muddled definitions, and from the chaos of life. You may well list the problems, the best logarithms, and conclude that people will never trust them. But this is a bit like cataloging all the drawbacks of democracy and concluding that no sane person would ever choose a system, support such a system. Winston Churchill famously said, democracy is the worst political system in the world, except for all the others. Rightly or wrongly, people might same conclusion about big data algorithms. They have a lot of witches, but we have no better alternative. As scientists gain a deeper understanding of way humans make decisions, the temptation to rely on algorithm is likely to increase. Hacking human decision making will not only make big data algorithms more reliable, it will simultaneously make human feel less reliable. As governments and corporations succeed in hacking the human operating system, we'll be exposed to a barrage of precision-guided manipulation, advertising, and propaganda. It might become easy to manipulate our opinions and emotions, that we will be forced to rely on our algorithms in the same way that a pilot suffering an attack of vertigo must ignore what his own senses are telling him and put trust in the machinery. This is a relevant point. If you see recently, you heard of an incident, how the machinery really wakes up or how the machinery takes over. A lot of the planes today are actually driven automatically. Pilot is only there for the SOS bit of it. So pilot may have limitations like he's afraid of vertigo, but the machine is there taking charge of the moment. In some and in some situations, people might not be given any choice and they'll be forced to obey decisions of big data algorithms. Yet, even in alleged free societies, logarithms might gain authority because we will learn from experience to trust them on more and more issues and will gradually lose our ability to make decisions ourselves. Just think of the way that within a mere 2 decades, billions of people will have come to entrust the Google search logarithm with one of the most important tasks of all, searching for all relevant and trustworthy information. We no longer search for information, instead, we Google. And we increasingly rely on Google for answers. So our ability to search for information by ourselves diminishes. Already today, truth is on the top results of Google search. So we will pause here. Let me see how much we have. Yeah, we will pause here. So this is an important pause for us. Already today, truth is defined by the top search on Google. So I'll create a bookmark and I will ask you to think about this, that how much do the top Google searches actually help you? Do you actually go down and see the fourth and fifth Google search? So I have a review of request from Mona Jain. You are in. Kamalpreet Kaur, you are in. Anju Makhija, you are in. Rima Nair, you are in. So welcome to the Good Schools Alliance community. We meet every Saturday at 5:30 and we are currently studying Yuval Noah Harari, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. We are on chapter 3 where we are talking about big data. We are talking about logarithms. We are talking about what big data can do. And it's important for us to understand that big data is definitely going to help us change our future. So on that note, I'm going to take a break. If you have any question, you can ask. So we are wrapped up today. We read about 5 minutes. We are more than happy to be with you. We won't take longer than this. We ask for about an hour for you to think. We hope in the next 5, 10, 15 minutes, you will think about what we've read. Think about how deep big data is coming into you. Think about how big data is getting into your life. Think about how big data is going to affect you. And above all, get a copy of the book. The book is beautiful. It's called 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. We will share the book. And before we go, I will once again go back and show you the YouTube channel so that you don't miss anything. It's important for you to find time. And if you miss a session, don't worry. Main hu na, we'll be able to give you the YouTube clip within an hour of today's session. So normally we share it Sunday morning. So I will share the YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel is here. It's very simple. It's called My Good School. It's a very well received YouTube channel. We shared an anthem today which someone created for us beautifully. On the YouTube channel, if you see this, Namaskar, see, Aapka Emerging Literacy Masterclass में स्वागत है. Thank you, everyone. So this was yeah, let me just put this off. So now you know where to find it. The recording of this session will be available soon. Any questions, any hands up before we sign off? Anyone wants to say anything? Have I missed anything in the chat? It says you got my number. Not really. There's nothing in the chat. DPS Sector 45, Gurgaon, most welcome. There's nothing else. Anyone wants to write a message, you can write it now before I put the chat off. Thank you for joining us. Happy Independence Day. We read about 45 minutes on an average, sometimes 5 minutes up, 5 minutes down. In case we can finish a chapter, we stretch a little to 60. But we've never done more than 60 minutes, and we meet every Saturday at 5:30. Saturday for us is celebrating the Teachers Academy. It's called Learning Forward Saturday. We do two sessions on Saturday. If you feel like, come for the 5:31, which is this one. If you want to read another book, which is at 3:30, we are reading Educated by Dr. Tara Westover. It's starting next Saturday. Brinda Ghosh is the anchor for the 3:30 session, while I anchor the 5:30 session. Please unmute and talk. Anyone wants to give a vote of thanks? Anyone feels the session was lousy? Please say it. It's free for all. It's open democracy. Gurdeep, you want to add something?
No, sir. Like this particular chapter is asking us to think more deeply, and I think now critical thinking has become more important than ever.
Yeah. Well, that's what the chapter made us do.
Yeah, and I think
It's
with the
actually
big
practical.
data, yeah,
Yeah.
big data like all around us, it's really very scary, and I think we should take a pause and we need to keep asking ourselves, like, why do I think what I think? And why do I choose what I choose? So now critical thinking has become very, very, very important.
Very interesting. You talked about this. I'll mention fascinating to you. BYD is a Chinese company which makes electric vehicles, and Toyota is the biggest automaker in the world. BYD is the largest battery operated car maker in the world, largest by far. If you add up any car maker in the world, BYD makes more cars than car makers in the world combined. Last week, Toyota and BYD agreed to work together. So now Toyota cars will have a BYD brain inside. So the world is reaching a stage where the four C's of Yuval Harari, that we are reaching to collaboration, we are reaching to communication. And that's the beauty of this infotech and biotech revolution. That in infotech and biotech revolution, there's no competition between China or America or Japan or China or India or America. So in these two fields, the world meets in infotech and biotech, which is health and education. That's the only two places the world meets. Rest, the world can't see eye to eye. So, in all fairness, let's respect that thought. And I think that's where the human edge lies, studying together, making believe that we can achieve things together. And that's why critical thinking, communication, collaboration, creativity, that's the future.
Yes. So Khushi has raised her hand.
Competing against each other. It's being together. That's the future. So thank you for being together. It's been wonderful this evening. I will create the show notes for the session. I will create the video for the session. Tomorrow, we publish all our show notes and videos on a website, gsi.in. Very simple. GSI stand for Good Schools India.in. Three-letter alphabets, gsi.in. You can note this is published every Monday. Last week it came on Sunday for a different reason because we were celebrating our return from a conference. But this newsletter comes Monday morning at 7 a.m. Go to I.in and simply subscribe. So whatever we have done in the week at the Good School Alliance, the Teachers Academy, is published in a comprehensive newsletter. You can get that newsletter straight into your inbox. And for all this, we tell you it's pure labor of love. There's no charge. Thank you to your school for nominating or believing us. Thank you for your school for encouraging you to join us. और हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए. सफर बहुत लंबा है और हम सब मिलके इस सफर का आनंद लेंगे. धन्यवाद गुरदीप. Have a great evening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.